kind of an exaggeration to say Nintendo had an incredibly rough generation for the Wii U era. This is where I started my serious console gaming experience. But even I got to admit, this was an incredibly rough generation for Nintendo. There was really no big games. There were no third party was basically non-existent, and the system itself was fundamentally flawed. Especially how you couldn't even bring the Wii U gamepad outside of the room. If anyone has ever bought a Wii U, for the 13 million users who actually even touched a Wii U, you know how annoying it was to want to play the gamepad and then you can't take it out of the room. It sucked. But I enjoyed the Wii U. It's what got me into Nintendo, and it's what got me into the world of video games in the first place. But that doesn't mean there was room for improvement. What shocks me the most about Nintendo over the last decade, actually 2 decades, is that they've gone from one of the worst consoles they've ever made to the best console they've ever made, and in my opinion, the best gaming console of all time. So this is an incredibly decisive topic. Because I know I'm going to get some comments telling me how the Xbox 360 or the PS4 are the best consoles of all time. And although I do think the PS4 is my second favorite console of all time, and the Xbox 360 is my third, but okay, I'm just for my reviews, and let's talk about how the Switch is the best console of all time. There are a few things that make a console a good console. There's the design of the console. There's the UI, there's the controllers, there's the first-party games, and there's the third-party games. So let's dive into each of these individually. First up, the design of the console. Why is the Switch the best at this? Well, simply put it, it's a home console, but not. You can use it at home, but you can bring it anywhere. Now, I will say I wish the Switch was more powerful. Compared to the PS, it's even weaker than the PS4. When we're going into this next generation, it's not as powerful as it's supposed to be. But you gotta keep in mind, this is last-gen hardware. Nintendo has yet to release their new generation of hardware. And so, I'm not gonna be judging the console on power. I'm gonna be judging it on what Nintendo can do with this power. If the console was weak and the game sucked because the console was weak, then I would talk about it, but we'll talk about it later. That's not the first case. The games on here are amazing. Purely based on the design of the console, it's great. The Joy-Cons are, at least for me, someone with small hands feel incredibly comfortable. They're not as comfortable as the DualSense, but they're close. I would say the most comfortable controls of all time: DualSense, DualShock 4. There's definitely the Switch Pro controller, and then the 360 controller. The Switch Pro controller, I have it. It's my the Zelda one. It's really freaking comfortable. It's cheap because it's not first party, but the actual design of the controller and the sticks and everything, it feels great. It feels amazing. The screen on the Switch, especially on the OLED, looks amazing. The console is small, able to fit anywhere, thin, easy to use. Everyone can pick up a Switch and use it. True story, I went to Brazil and I played ARMS with kids in Brazil. That's how easy the system is to grasp. It's so easy to grasp that even kids in Brazil who honestly don't even play video games are just able to grasp the controller super well. That's insane. If I gave a Brazilian kid, or a kid, where I grew up, they don't really, or where my dad grew up and where I visit, there's pretty much no one that plays video games. There's a video game store 20 minutes away that's just really small, but that's about it. So, yeah, they pick up a Switch and they're able to play video games with it. Reminds me of the Wii. It is a more hardcore version of the Wii, which is great. Next up, let's talk about the design of the UI. The UI is kind of mid, I'm not gonna lie. But what I want to convey with this video is that the Switch isn't the best at most things, but it's close to the top. With the design of the console, in my opinion, it has the best. It has probably the second best design for a console, never mind it. Basically, for me, the Switch has the best design for a console, and it has one of the best UIs. I still do think the PS5 has the best UI, the way everything flows seamlessly, but the Switch is close. All the games are in a row. Everything is in its own little folder. The UI is simple. It's easy to get to the settings. Every setting is laid out where it should be. It's the only thing that's annoying about the Switch UI is basically looking at your friends list, which I don't think anyone does on Switch, but in general, it's very annoying to just how to look at your friends list and try to play Splatoon with some people, and then boom, no one's there, which is insane. It's so annoying. Playing with friends on Switch is the biggest issue with the Switch UI. But the UI is really good. It is a slightly worse version of the PS5 UI. It flows seamlessly. It just doesn't look as good as the PS5. But if you own a PS5, the UI on the PS5 is freaking amazing. It is such a big step up from the PS4, which had, in my opinion, one of the worst UIs I tried to use. Same with the Xbox 360. Say what you want about those consoles, they're great, but the UI needed work back in the last 2 generations. Nintendo, on the other hand, is still cooking to this day with their UI. But the UI really isn't that important, I'm not going to lie. The controller is a little more important. The Switch controller is in the DualShock 5, or the DualSense, but it's still really, really good. And I want to say that, I want to convey this again. The Switch may not be the best at most things, but it is up towards the top, unlike any console. The PS5 has a really mid-selection of games. They've got, Spider-Man 2, and that's like their only big exclusive for me. But they've got the best controller and the best UI. The Xbox 360 has great exclusives and a great controller, but its UI is probably one of the worst. It's up there. It's down there actually with the 3DS and the Wii U, in my opinion, which is wild to think that the UI is that bad. The Switch is just, it's not the best at most things, but it's so good in almost every area that, yeah, the Switch only has one major fault, in my opinion. The rest of them is second place. But now that we've talked about, the controller for the Switch is great. It really is. The sticks feel so good. The buttons, the buttons are okay on the Power 8 controller, but if you ever played an official controller, the buttons are really good. The grippiness, the designs of the controller, you can get a bunch of different colors and stuff. The feel of it, the meatiness of the controller reminds me a lot of the DualSense, but I think I actually may prefer the shape of the Switch controller just a little bit. The controller on the Switch is just freaking amazing, and I really can't understate how good the controller is. But the controller is really good. What do you play with it? The Switch has, in my opinion, and this is why it is the best console of all time, for me, 40% of what makes a console good is the first-party games, because those matter the most. And yeah, don't get me started. Nintendo has freaking amazing first-party games. They have, and I'm gonna put this is down a list, by the way, of, in my opinion, the best. They have a few of the best games of all time. Tears of the Kingdom and Breath of the Wild have both, at a time, Tears of the Kingdom is right now, Breath of the Wild was previously, two of their favorite best game of all time. Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom are in my opinion, my top 5 best games of all time. Both games are freaking amazing. They revolutionized video games for me, and I'm sucks that PS5 doesn't have a game like this. Mario Odyssey, another freaking amazing game. Splatoon 3, Splatoon 2. Two of the best new IPs from Nintendo. Great entries into the Splatoon series. People play them to this day because of how good they are. It's Nintendo's version of Call of Duty, and it's freaking amazing. What else? They've got ARMS, which is underrated. I freaking love ARMS. ARMS is so much fun. I probably had 50, 60 hours just playing multiplayer on ARMS. It was great. Smash Bros. Ultimate, the best Smash Bros. Game of this day. Which, no, Melee is not the best one. Y'all can come and fight me on that. Better characters, better combat, better stages, better main story. What does Melee have? They also got Mario and Rabbids. Crazy, I know, but I freaking loved this game. This game is really freaking good. It is a surprisingly good strategy game, and yeah, it's freaking amazing. They've got Super Mario Odyssey. In my opinion, up there with Galaxy is the best Mario game of all time. They've got Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, which I know is a remake technically, but it is the best Mario Kart ever made. Nintendo was at the peak of their IPs with this generation. They're at the peak of their power. They've got the best Mario game, the best Zelda game, the best Splatoon, the best Animal Crossing. Animal Crossing New Horizons is really good as well. People often forget about Animal Crossing Horizon. That's really good. They have Mario Wonder recently, which is my favorite 2D Mario game, probably next to Mario World. They've got New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe, which is a little boring, but I think the most solid New Super Mario Bros. Game, period. For me, it's tied with the Wii one, because the Wii one is really good as well. And they've got much more I'm probably not thinking of. The Switch has just got so many but that's only from this generation too. Keep in mind, Nintendo also has first-party games they have remakes and stuff from previous generations. They have the Thousand Year Door remake. They have the Wind Waker remake. They have the Thousand Year Door remake. They have the Metroid Prime remakes, which all 4 of those remakes are held as the best remakes of all time. From what I've heard, Thousand Year Door is an amazing remake, and the Metroid Prime series is an amazing remake. They've got the 3D All-Stars, which is mid in my opinion. I do have it. The remake itself is mid, but they still got 3 amazing games on this system. Odyssey's overrated, but still fun. Sunshine and Galaxy are amazing as well. They've got so many games. If you take take out Nintendo's first, take out what I just talked about. Okay, take out the Metroid Prime, take out the other things I talked about. There's still more in my script that I forgot about. There's Hyrule Warriors Definitive Edition, which is fun as hell. They've got the Mario RPG remake, fun as hell. Luigi's Mansion 2 HD, which Luigi's Mansion 2 on 3DS was very fun. Never got past the spider boss, but I really enjoyed that game. It's got good reviews. They've got Mario Maker 2, people. Mario Maker 2. They have the recent Princess Peach video game, which got decent reviews, and it's just a fun time overall from what reviews say. They've got Link's Awakening. They have so many games, both remake and normal. This is the best selection. Don't even talk about a Nintendo system. For me, this is the best selection of games for any system, just with the PS4. But where this system starts to fall apart, and where I have to admit fault here, is the third-party offerings. They really don't have great first-party offerings on the Switch. The Mortal Kombat remake sucks. Everything sucks when it's a third party. They still have some good. Nintendo still has some good third party games on here. They have Hades, Crash Bandicoot. They have the recent Sonic games have all been coming to Switch as well, including the New Generations game. They've got the Star Wars remake. They've got Dead by Daylight. They've got Lego Brawls, which I don't know is really random, but it's on my list here. They got the recent Red Dead Redemption remake. They have the recent Nickelodeon fighting games. They have Crash Bandicoot. They have a good amount of older offerings, but they don't have a lot of new offerings. Like, for example, Injustice 2 isn't on this system. None of the CODs are on this system. Recent, Assassin's Creed Mirage is not on this system. They still do have the other Assassin's Creed games. Like, if you didn't know, they released the original trilogy. It's where I first played Assassin's Creed 3. But in general, Nintendo doesn't really have good third-party offerings on the system. They're missing the Jedi games. They're even missing games like Hi-Fi Rush, which got ported to PS5 recently. I know COD is pledged to be on Nintendo's next system, but man, Nintendo's third-party offerings for this thing suck. It sucks because everything else in the system is so good. The design of the console, in my opinion, is great. The UI is really good, not the best, but decent. The controller is up there with the DualSense. And the first-party games are probably the best of any system ever. But the third-party games, man, they just lack so hard, and it kind of is sad. But overall, yeah, the Switch isn't the best console ever made. It may not have the best design of the console. That, for me, is probably a tie between, the GameCube and, the PS5. I love the look of those consoles. It may not have the best UI. That goes to be the PS5. Or the best controller, that's also the PS5. Or PS4. They're both pretty much the same in my hands. But they're, for my opinion, they have the third best design for a console, probably the second best UI, the second best controller, and they're down on the list for third-party games, but first-party games are number one for me. The Switch is just up there. The Xbox 360 gets really good first-party support and really good third-party support, but that's all it's really got for me. Not a huge fan of the design, not a huge fan of the UI, and I like the controller. The controller is decent. Or another example, best consoles ever made, PS4. In my opinion, the Switch is a better UI, a better controller, and the design is better, and the third-party games are better or worse. The only thing the PS4 has, it has slightly worse, but still really good first-party games, and it also has an amazing selection of third-party. But that isn't even Sony. That's just Nintendo not having a powerful enough system. But seriously though, if Nintendo upgraded this system, they could have such a good console, man. I cannot wait for this next generation, and thank you guys for watching. What inspired this video was my recent playthrough of Tears of the Kingdom, so thank you guys for that. Also, thank you guys for my support on the Odyssey stream that I did. I don't know why, but that video is popping off. There should be a community tab post really soon about the views, because I put that up yesterday. But as of right now, that stream is sitting at 189 as of the recording of this video, which is crazy. I mean, it got 19 views in the last hour alone since the last time I checked. I wanted to make this a spectacular Spider-Man video, but I just don't have time to watch the show. I have it now on my TV. It's like I got it for like $5-6 for a DVD, and I just ripped the DVD, so I'm gonna watch it now. And I'm very excited to. So that video will be out 4th of August. This Fox X-Men video, which I'm just edited right before this, and I'm gonna edit right after, is gonna be out July 21st. And yeah, thank you guys for watching this video. Let's subscribe, hit the bell. Thanks for watching this very different video, and now stay electric.